Well, here we are, like 4 or 5 days after I said I was gonna do something, and I'm finally doing it. So we're gonna put the potatoes in these empty spots. I haven't quite decided where yet. We're just gonna give it a go. So here are my potatoes that my family was kind enough to give me. We have everything from kind of ones that have just started to sprout a little bit to a little bit more to a whole lot more. So we are gonna plant all of the types. I don't know if I'm gonna get every single one of these in the ground. I'm kind of hoping so. I'm gonna cut a lot of them in half because I like to just get as much as I can out of everything. So we're gonna see how many we can fit in these rows and go through and get all these replanted with potatoes so that in the fall we will have a ton more potatoes to dig up. So I'm gonna start with kind of digging little trenches. I like to do that instead of having to mound up as we do it. So let's get us some trenches going and then we will get some potatoes put in. All right, we've got our little trench dug. We're gonna go ahead and get some potatoes going and get as many in this side as we can. So as I've just been doing this whole row, I've been cutting these in at least half. Leaves plenty of little growth on there. Weeding out as I go. And then I like to put enough dirt on that I don't really have to worry about mounding later. I almost never have to go by mounding my potatoes because I plant them all relatively deep in the soil as is and then mound them right on top. So sometimes it takes a little longer for me to see their growth come up through the dirt, but where they're rooting and where they're growing their potatoes is nice and deep. So I don't mind waiting the extra little bit, knowing that I don't have the extra work of going through and mounding them again. Now some of these I'm going to put relatively close to each other because they don't have massive growth on them. And just in case they don't give a lot, at least we'll have a bunch right next to each other. So I don't mind putting them nice and close. We've got plenty here to do a whole nother row. All right, there's a row of potatoes. I'm gonna go through and dig out a little trench in front of these so I can have a second row just like our first planting of them. And we'll see how far we can get in that one. You see, I'm leaving these whole this time. It's a mix of two things. One, I like to experiment and kind of see what works better. Does it work better when I cut them? Does it work better when I leave them whole? And also, I have so many that I think I can do with leaving some whole and not cutting every single one. I'm definitely going to get these 2 trenches done tonight. But other than that, I don't know when I'll get to more, so I'm going to do it like this. There we have it. 2 new full rows of potatoes. And I actually have some more that I'm gonna try to squeeze in at the end of this other row real quick before the sun goes completely down. And yeah, there it is. My husband always makes fun of me and tells me that he needs to get me gloves because I always come in just filthy, just like head to toe, knees and all. But I always say if I can't feel it, I don't know what's actually going on in there. So I don't like to wear gloves. I like to get dirty and messy. It's the little kid in me. And it just feels a little more grounded. But yeah, there's 2 more rows. I did it the same way that we did it at the beginning of this season when we did our first bunch. The only difference was then I had a hoe. This time I have a shovel. And this one was actually quicker to make the trenches like really deep. And so it worked out just as good both ways. And like I said, a lot of the potatoes I cut in half, some I left whole, some were just barely starting to have little spuds on them. Some of them had really long tentacles coming out of them. Some even really already had little potatoes growing out of them. So I'm really excited to see how many more potatoes we're gonna get by doing this. This is our first year where I've actually remembered to plant something again. Like I said, it's not too late. It's only August 1st, you guys. You have plenty of time. There is honestly so much time left in this month, like I said, to do carrots. Near the end of the month, pop that lettuce back in. Radishes grow really fast. So many things, broccoli, cauliflower, certain types of squash and gourds. You can do a lot of things that grow really fast that you can get in before it's too late, and that'll be there to harvest and when it starts to get a little chilly out. I don't like thinking too far ahead because I feel like we just got into summer, but these things will be ready when everyone else seems like they're clearing out their garden. You're gonna have another harvest, you know? And even if it's just potatoes like us, or just whatever one thing you remembered, it's really fun and really cool. So I'm gonna try to get the rest of these in the ground, and then we'll give you an update on when these start to sprout. All right, I did end up doing one more little kind of partial row. So there is a double row right here of a few more too. And then that row that goes all the way back up to the pumpkins. And I did pull out a few more potato plants, so we even got a little bit more potatoes to add to what is in the other garage drying. So yeah, so got a little harvest, started a new one. Can't wait for a harvest. Just in here staring at all the awesome fun stuff. Look at this fun accordion tomato. How cool is that gonna be? There's actually quite a few of those this year, which is super awesome. But yeah, like I said, it's never too start. So what? It's never too late to start. This is gonna be probably an even bigger harvest than what our first one was because of all the potatoes I was able to get from the family. And honestly, theirs were so much better, like grown out and started, than mine were for the first planting that we did of it. So I think this one's gonna be even better than the last one. So especially when you're thinking, is it too late? It totally isn't. I see a bunch more onions that are ready to pull, but my daughter is with her grandma for tonight. So I think I'll leave those an extra day so that she can help pull them up, because she says it's really satisfying to do so. So like I said, drop in the comments, tell me what's your favorite thing to plant a second round of, or what's your favorite thing to start super late in the season when you've let yourself go a million times saying, I'm gonna plant that today, and then next thing you know, it's like weeks later. That's me with these potatoes. These were given to me like 2 weeks ago, you guys, and I've been telling you all that, hey, I'm planting these tonight, at the end of this video, at the end of next video. Here's the video, it's happening. I did it. As long as you get to it eventually. Have a good one.